I was kneeling on cold concrete, my hands buried in the guts of a machine that holds more cash than most people see in a year, when a horn blared behind me like a challenge. At that exact moment, I realized this wasn't just another workday. It was about to become a lesson in entitlement, patience, and karma. If you've ever been disrespected while just doing your job, if you've ever wanted to see arrogance smack headfirst into reality, make sure you're subscribed, drop a like, and stick with me. Because this story, justice doesn't whisper, it honks. So here's some context. I repair ATMs for a living. It's a job most people don't even think about unless something goes wrong. I like it that way. It pays well, it's quiet, and most days, the machines don't talk back. I don't deal with customers, office politics, or small talk. Just protocols, tools, and a very strict rule book. One of those rules. When you're working on an ATM, especially a drive-up ATM, you block access completely. No cars passing. No one pulling in behind you. No shortcuts. It's not about convenience. It's about security. Open ATM equals potential crime scene if anything goes sideways. That day, I was at a drive-up lane with 2 ATMs positioned one after the other. I parked my van sideways, blocking both lanes like I was trained to do. The front panel of the ATM was open, my tools laid out neatly, replacement parts resting on a mat beside me. Anyone with even a grain of common sense could see this ATM is out of commission. The sun was beating down, the concrete was rough on my knees, and I was mid-disassembly on a stubborn component. That kind of work puts you in a zone. You're focused, methodical, calm. Then I heard it, a deep engine rumble, tires crunching gravel, and finally stillness. I glanced up just enough to register a massive, jacked-up truck stopped directly behind my van. Lifted suspension, oversized tires, covered in political decals like bumper stickers were Pokemon, and he was trying to catch them all. And of course, flapping proudly off the back, a giant FS, your feelings, flag, I sighed internally. This happens more than you'd think. Usually, people sit for a minute, notice the open ATM, the blocked lane, the technician actively dismantling a machine, and then they leave. Mild annoyance, sure, but rational. This guy, he sat there, engine idling, waiting. I kept working. I'm not allowed to abandon an open ATM, even to talk. That's rule number 1 drilled into us. So I ignored him. That's when the horn went off. Not a polite tap. A full, aggressive blast. The sound echoed off the bank building, vibrating right through my chest. My jaw tightened, but I didn't move. I focused harder on the part in my hands, pretending the horn was just another background noise. Another honk. Then silence. A car door slammed. Heavy boots crunched toward me, and I could feel him before I saw him, one of those people who takes up emotional space as much as physical. He stood way too close, looming, arms crossed, impatience radiating off him like heat. "You need to move," he said, voice sharp. "I gotta use the ATM." I stood up slowly, keeping my posture calm. No sudden movements. No attitude. Years in this job teach you that calm is power, sir, I said evenly. "I'm repairing this ATM right now. You're welcome to use any of the other 4 on the property, including the one right over there." I even gestured. He was standing next to a perfectly functional ATM, his face twisted like I'd personally insulted him. "I don't want to use that one." He snapped. "I need to drive my truck through, so you need to pack up and move." That's when it hit me. This wasn't confusion. This was entitlement. I felt that familiar pressure behind the eyes. The one you get when someone treats you like an obstacle instead of a human being. But I kept my voice steady. "I can't do that. This is a security protocol. I'll be done when I'm done." He scoffed, eyes flicking to the flag on his truck like it was backup. "Then maybe you should read your own flag." I added calmly. That did it. His face went red. Not embarrassed red, furious red. Like steam was about to come out of his ears. Without another word, he spun around and stormed into the bank. For a moment, I thought, good. Maybe that's the end of it. It wasn't. A minute later, he came back out with the branch manager in tow. The man was ranting, waving his arms, pointing at me like I'd committed some grave injustice. The manager took one look at the open ATM, my uniform, the blocked lanes, and before the guy could finish his sentence, the manager said, "Sir, he's authorized to be here. He does not need to move." The silence that followed was delicious, but the guy wasn't done. He turned back toward me and took a step forward, invading my space again. And that's when something shifted, not anger, not fear, but clarity. I looked him dead in the eye. "Sir," I said, loud enough for the manager to hear, "interfering with someone actively working on an ATM is a criminal offense. You need to leave the premises immediately." The manager nodded. "His right. You need to go?" For a split second, I thought he might swing. His fists clenched. His jaw worked like he was chewing nails. Then he spat out a slur, called us a couple of faggots, and stomped back to his truck. He peeled out of the parking lot like a maniac, tires squealing, engine roaring, ego wounded, but not before I calmly pulled out my phone and snapped a picture of his license plate. Police report filed, every detail documented. That night, as the adrenaline wore off, I felt something unexpected, not triumph, not anger, but peace. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I didn't break protocol. I let the system handle someone who thought rules were optional. Later, I texted a friend in law enforcement to see what came of it. Turns out, the guy had a clean record. So they documented the incident, gave him a warning, and that was that. No dramatic arrest, no viral mugshot, and honestly, I was fine with that. Because sometimes revenge isn't about watching someone crash and burn. Sometimes it's about standing your ground, staying professional, and watching someone realize, too late, that bullying the wrong person comes with consequences. The best part, I finished the repair, the ATM worked perfectly, and I went home knowing I didn't let someone else's anger control my day. So yeah, maybe not explosive karma, but it was earned. If this story hit home for you, drop a like, subscribe for more real life justice, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying moment of karma you've ever witnessed?